Welcome to the second episode of The Director's Chair. With me, as always, is the great Ted Sellers. Hello, Ted.
What's up, Chris?
And we have a very special guest today. So we have on John from Scranton, and John is going to be. So we reached out to John a week ago about this, and John said he'd come on, and we had a fun thing where we're going to have a word limit for him. John is famous for talking a lot, so John is going to be under a 100-word limit. Since we invited him on the show, the Mincel Intel is no more. So I felt bad. So I reached out to someone that I think John really would appreciate and really enjoy. And he's talked about him a lot. So I'm like, hey, we should give Matt more. I'm sorry, we should give John more words. So Matt Carano said, all right, great. I said, Matt, how many words can we give John extra so he can really talk about Mincel Intel and kind of what happened? And Matt was generous enough to donate one word. So you will have 101 words for the entirety of the show. So, John, I got to ask, what happened? Why is Mincel Intel no more?
We're men of simple taste. Listen, we like gunpowder, we like dynamite, we like gasoline. We did what we do best. We fucked up. Come on. I mean, we're like the punching bag of the network. If we're not taking shots, we're not doing our job. So, it is what it is.
Okay, you hit like 28 there.
Okay.
Oh, we're already at 28 out of 100.
John, do you think, I'll make this one a little easier for you. Do you think intern Will was wrong for using the KMS StreamYard?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you regret defending more? Zonker, Kelleher, or Sneakers?
No comment. Zonker.
Okay. Who bought the views?
BA.
And John, I had a question for you. I really wanted to ask Mintel Phil because he is our dream guest, but he never answered me back. So I'm going to have to ask you. And I think under this word count, you might be able to shed light on it in a way that he would be able to. However, now, BA tweeted earlier today that he might be going solo. What are your thoughts on that, since you guys have all pledged that, all for one, one for all?
Loyalty.
Good answer. After your last show, you guys were called Idiot Drug Addicts by Kirk. Any regrets?
Dead on.
Okay. Anything else for John before we move on to the movie?
No, I actually have a question that can kind of transition into the movie.
Beautiful.
So we had John on because the movie is called Insomnia, and we'll get into why that is. But it reminded me of the fact that John never sleeps. I mean, this man worked on my Senate campaign and was texting me at like 2 a.m, like, I have the best video idea ever. And I just gotta ask John, Pacino seemed like he was awful sluggish during this movie after days of no sleep, but you always seem so hyper and uppity. What's your secret?
Adderall.
Just Adderall? Sure, yeah.
Hey, secret safe.
Yeah. So Ted, did you like this movie?
So I did. So as I was watching it, I realized I think I've seen it before, but I saw it so long ago that I didn't really remember it. So I was like watching it for the first time. But I went through a phase where I think I was between the ages of 10 and 13. And my dad and I on Sundays would get the Netflix DVDs mailed to the house. And we would just power through any movie that had just come out. So this was definitely one I think I saw during that time frame. But I have some serious flaws in this movie that I kind of want to get into. But first, I want to know, did you like the movie?
I do like this movie. I don't like it as much as Memento, so it's not going to stack up there. I do enjoy this movie a lot, though. It's almost like an anti-Nolan movie. It doesn't feel like one of his movies. He didn't write it. It's usually his movies have a certain feel or not supernatural, but kind of these odd twists to them. This movie really didn't have that. John, how do you feel about this movie? What was your take on it?
This movie stunk. Nolan's the man. This movie stunk.
No one was the man? Oh, Nolan's the man, but this movie stinks. Okay.
So I think why it doesn't truly feel like a Nolan movie is because it really isn't. It's actually a remake of like a Swedish film.
Yep.
So the guy was very receptive of Nolan's take on his film. I don't know the director's name from Sweden. I don't have it in front of me. But he liked what Nolan did and was happy it was him because it was still his vision. But he really just kind of made that film again and just kind of Americanized it.
Yeah, it definitely. It did feel. It even had almost a foreign feel to it. Obviously, a lot of that had to do with the location. This takes place in Alaska. It was shot in Canada. John, have you ever been to Alaska or Canada? I'm sorry?
Nope.
No? Okay. I didn't know if you had any experiences traveling abroad that you wanted to share with us at all.
John, do you have an infatuation of snow? I'll say no. I think he's on the record as no. I don't know.
Oh, no? Okay. So, no. All right.
So,
Just the Adderall then.
we'll move on.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I think that. So, Ted, what are some of your flaws? Because it sounds like you and John didn't like this movie as much as.
So I'm actually just gonna transition right into my Red Award for this week.
Oh,
which, as we know, is the biggest UNT of the movie.
Yep.
So I think the biggest red is actually, I guess you'll call him the protagonist, but Al Pacino. I think he is, as a character in this movie, the worst. I mean, he's a dirty cop. He is willing at times to frame a high school kid basically for murder, then kind of backtracks on it, basically kills the guy who, at scene before, tells him he's going to dig into his shady past. And the way the movie's set up, they do a nice job of, did he mean to kill him? Didn't he mean to kill him? But throughout the movie, he just acts in the most unethical ways, but feels he's doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, I completely agree. So he's also Will Dormer is the character. Al Pacino's character is the red of this movie. Absolutely. He kills his partner. Like you said, he's a dirty guy. He seems to have no family or friends back home. He's never calling anyone back home. He seems to be this, like, obviously this horrible human being who I think killed his partner on purpose. I think he saw him. I don't think it's as confusing as I think he had a good idea who he was shooting at. The movie does a great job keeping it kind of mysterious. And like you said, he's willing to, do whatever it takes to keep his record clean, even potentially, like I said, letting a high school kid go to jail. John, who's your red award of the movie?
Randy.
Randy,
the teenager.
Oh, okay, yes. Oh yeah, the boyfriend.
Yeah.
You're at
because
50.
He's a cunt.
Because he's yes. Was there anything in particularly cunty, or we probably shouldn't say that, right? Because he's a CUNT, that you'd want to really kind of explain in further detail about Randy?
His face.
His face, yes.
He does have a very hateable face.
He does. He became kind of a was he on like a WB show or something, an actor. He actually went on and did some stuff, but he's very punchable. Any other issues with the plot that Ted or John want to get into at all?
So the plot, to me, I don't know what it is, but I felt like there were parts of this movie that really dragged before Robin Williams got involved. There was a lot of just scenic shots and random background setup before we got to potentially Robin Williams' character. And even we don't get the reveal that it's him until he actually makes the phone call to Will Dormer, during the movie. I just felt like the beginning really dragged. None of the characters are particularly interesting, but they try to make them to be really interesting. And I don't know. I felt like Hilary Swank, I don't know if she's just not the right person for the role. I wasn't a huge fan of her until later in the movie.
It's tough. So Robin Williams doesn't come into this movie until it's already an hour into it, which is very strange. I agree that his scenes are particularly good. Hilary Swank, I also agree, is maybe not the best casting. It's tough. She's won 2 Oscars, so you think, all right, she can kind of do anything. John, do you have any Hilary Swank?
Hot or not?
That's a tough one.
I mean, she is, right?
I guess, yeah.
In real life, if you met her, you would be attracted. You know what I mean? What does that mean, John? That symbol? Yeah, I don't know what that. What can you? No, you. Yeah,
Sex. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sex. You want to have sex with her? Is that what you're saying? All right. Well, yes, that would. Yes, that would. How about you, Ted? You have Hillary Swank. What's your take? I don't know.
I'll say yay.
All right, nice. We all agree then. That's good. But I disagree with you, Ted, that this movie's plot, the beginning drags. I don't think I kind of enjoy it. I enjoy these characters. I love the scenic stuff. Like I said, this was shot in Canada, not in Alaska, so it's a little bit of a bait and switch there to some extent. But it is still very good. It's beautiful. I've never seen anything like it before, really, in movies. I really enjoyed the background and kind of how this place looked. I wanted to move there.
So another complaint I have is how laughable it is when Al Pacino is doing physical things. I like him trying to run across logs, like just knowing that it's not Al Pacino that is trying to do it, and the way they shoot it. I know they're doing the best they can, but isn't Al Pacino like really short and like kind of frail in real life? And here he's already so aged that it's just to believe that he's out here running through snow, jumping over things, and running on logs that are rotating is just not that believable.
Yeah, Ted, you're criticizing someone else for like walking and moving around. Is that right?
I don't see the issue. What are you referring here, Chris?
Just want to
I
make
did
sure
a 5K. Okay,
that's true. That's true. And you beat a blind man. You did finish.
I did, and there's photographic evidence. That photo finish.
John, have you ever tried to run across logs or run a 5K or anything like that? Did you do the 5K?
Yes.
How did that go?
Great.
Speaking of the 5K, I think we should get right into the Mayo Award.
Ooh, the Mayo Award. So the Mayo Award goes to whoever has questioned the most things in the movie. Ted, who do you got?
I have Ellie, who is played by Hillary Swank, because she basically solves the entire movie by questioning things, which brings us to the whole, ending with Robin Williams and the shootout at his cabin.
Yeah, Roger Ebert has some problems with that ending. He thinks the shootout is like too Hollywood. I kind of agree.
Oh, absolutely.
I do love the look of it. That house, I want to live in that house. But I did agree that it was a little too kind of formula driven there. But I agree with you though. My award for Mayo is also the Hillary Swank character. So who do you have, John?
Swank.
Swank. Okay. Yeah, just wait. It wasn't as annoying as Mrs. Jenkins from last week with the questions. But definitely didn't know anything was going on for most of it.
I mean, she definitely kept it going enough that a character like that was necessary in the fact that we need to think that Pacino's being threatened now that he thinks he's killed the only person that truly knows what's going on. So her figuring out things on the fly added a new element to the story. But once we get to the ending, I agree with Roger Ebert that it just gets so over the top, kind of cheesy Hollywood with the gunfight. And then even the way that they shoot Robin Williams and have him like fade away in the water until he kind of like disappears from the shot. It just seemed like everything was so neatly tied up that it just wasn't, I don't know, that believable, especially for a Christopher Nolan movie. I mean, he usually leaves you wondering something.
Yeah, this didn't have a lot of the open-ended questions at all you typically use movies. Now, I do think what the movie does great is has Pacino. That's how it feels if you stay up. Like I do have some insomnia. I do stay up quite late. When I was younger, I'd stay up for days at a time. And it is kind of how it feels. Like when
your college days.
Yeah, early 20s, college days. Yeah, it was rough. But like when he's driving and he kind of looks up and you see the woman out of nowhere, like almost like you lose a couple seconds. That is how it feels for me when I'm up for a long time. Now, John, you are, like Ted said, a famous insomniac. What's the longest you've ever stayed awake, and what are your experiences being an insomniac?
The ringing was dead on. The ringing,
like in his head.
Yeah,
you get that. What's the
Nolan is really good at that. He's good at noises.
He is. He's great in Dunkirk with
that.
that.
Like 70, 79.
He's great at Dunkirk with that, with the boat, like with some of the sounds. I think he's great with visuals
Even with
too.
The planes.
Yes.
and with quick edits too. Like that's how like that jumpy feel, like that kind of unsettlingness that he gets for sure.
A really good scene is when he's on the way to the cabin and everything starts ringing, as John said, and he thinks the truck's coming at him, and see the truck in the distance, and all of a sudden he just like the camera cuts to a truck that's blaring on the horn. He spins out, and then there's just nothing, and we don't even know which way he was traveling on the road.
Right. And that's another Will Dormer total asshole move by him, is that he has that high school girl in the car with him, and he plays chicken for no reason with a tractor trailer driver. What the fuck?
So while I was watching that, I was thinking, in all of these scenes in these movies where they do that with an oncoming truck and they wait till the last second to move, what if the guy freaks out in the same direction that they plan on going? Like, they're still just going to get smoked.
I agree. That's a terrible move by them. Let's talk about what aged the worst. And I got to be honest with you guys, and I think I like this movie more than you guys. I don't really think a lot of things did age too bad in this movie. But part of it has to do with this like kind of remote location. One thing I guess if I had to really nitpick was they show a quick like shot of the town, and there's like a video rental store there. So I guess that didn't age particularly well. But other than that, I mean, this is
Robin Williams playing "I Got You" with a tape recorder. Not too many tape recorders like that in today's day and age.
That's a good call. You got anything, John?
I would say Robin Williams since he's dead.
That's a fair play. That is a fair play. Did not age well.
If they tried to bring him, like if they tried to reenact this movie, the same cast, he would look terrible. He'd be, his flesh would be eaten away. I agree, John. So that's definitely a good call by that.
Just piggybacking off of why this movie aged okay is what you said, Chris. Like the location is keeping it very small town, and it doesn't seem like business is booming in this particular area. So it's not like it's like the tech capital of the world or anything. I imagine not much has changed in the location that they filmed it now.
I agree. I'm guessing this town looks very similar. I did just get sent a couple questions here for John. John, what's your favorite Mincel Intel memory? What's your favorite memory of doing the show?
Kirk on.
Oh, Kirk episode. Makes sense. Okay. I'll save the other one for you. This does transition well into my next category, which is which character would you want to trade places with? This is Ted's favorite category. Ted, you can start. Is there any character that you'd want to switch places with here?
No, I hate the cold. I never do well in it. Don't have snow tires. Obviously, if I switch places with somebody, that wouldn't be an issue that I would really have to address. But I think I hate most of the characters in this movie, even ones that are good, that I wouldn't want to switch places. The most endearing character in all this is Robin Williams, but he also, is a murderer of teenage girls. So I probably wouldn't have switched places with him and floated at the lake at the bottom at the end and frozen to death.
Okay, John.
None of them.
Okay. I agree. None of them. I would want to live in that town, though. I want to live like on the coast, like in Maine, northern Maine, or like I love this like small town. It looks beautiful. I could totally like love having like that house. Like I guess that house at the end of the movie they built for the movie, and then they tore it down immediately afterwards, which kind of makes sense because like how would it last? Because they walk across that little bridge to get. That doesn't make any sense. But I'd love to have a house like that. That seems like a great place to live.
I would
John,
like to go there for like a week. I wouldn't want to stay more than that. I think that would get really old. And I don't know about you guys, but I couldn't live in a place that half the year was completely dark and half the year was completely light. And I don't think we talked about enough of that yet.
We haven't.
Because that is a major factor into his insomnia as well. And
it's a factor, really.
I know now why Alaska has alcoholism off the charts. I mean, as we all take a sip of our drinks right now. But I would not know when to stop drinking Busch Lights if it was always light out. Because you need that, it's been dark for 6 hours, it's time for bed, reality to set in. and I would not have that if it was light out. But then the other half of the year, I'd be like, well, what else am I going to do? It's dark out.
What are you drinking right now, John?
Lager.
Yinglings, very on brand for Pennsylvania.
I agree with the dark. So I couldn't So I couldn't live in that scenario. I would go mad. Like I would go insane. Like I would get really depressed at night if it was dark all the time. Like I think that would really fuck with my psyche. And then during the day, I would have if it was light all the time, I'd have a really hard time sleeping.
Like in the beginning of the movie when they land and he's like, let's pull him out of school to question him, and they're like, it's 10 o'clock. And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, right. And they're like, no, it's 10 o'clock p.m. And it was one of those, like, let's obviously state what we're doing with the whole time thing here. And I was just like, what?
What was that you did again, Ted?
What?
What did you do, John? Did you catch what you did? Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I guess does that tackle all of our categories there?
Yeah, we hit all the awards. Any closing thoughts? Now, how do we rate the first two directorial movies for Christopher Nolan?
I give Memento, if it's a scale of 1 to 100, 50 is your average movie. I give Memento an 89. I give this an 82.
Okay. See, I would go 85 and like 78.
All right. And John, have you seen Memento? What do you give for ratings for
75.
Memento? I'm sorry, 85? 75.
75.
And what do you give for this?
60.
Okay. Yeah, John may have won the challenge here of 100 words. Are we ready to close out the show? And Ted, you have anything else?
Before we close it out, I just want to ask John. John, what can the future of the Mincels on the YouTube channel, like, what can we expect from you guys?
Is this?
So you're going to be jumping on just random shows and everything?
Yes.
Will you be on the BA Variety Hour? And can you help us get Mintel Phil on the show? Because he is, at the end of the day, #Dream Guest Phil.
We'd love to get Phil on. John, what does Phil smell like? Have you smelt him? We want to have him on the... Smelt him, yeah. Have you smelt him? What does he smell like?
Muffins.
Oh, what a shame. Oh, no. Justin, is that 101?
We were
That Buddha?
almost
Yep,
there.
reached 101.
Oh, the muffins.
I mean, those
Oh.
are the rules. Those
What a shame.
are the rules.
Well, that...
And I really think we're about to get Mintel Phil on.
I know.
I think he was gonna do that for his 1 minute.
I got to give John credit that he lasted longer than I thought.
Has he ever said 100 words in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, let alone 23?
It was a remarkable show of restraint for John on a difficult day when Mincel Intel is gone. I guess they're going to have the new class. I guess they're going to offer up the Mincel Intel name to other young Kirk Minifans. I don't know what that's going to entail. I'm excited to see. Maybe
I can only imagine what the new breed is.
Did you ever watch that, the new class? They had they had like Screech hung around and Mr. Belding hung around. So maybe like BA will hang around. He'll be like the old vet.
BA would be their Screech.
Right.
He would be.
And then the rest of them, like the new kids will try to learn from BA. Like they'll drunk tweet at like 2 a.m.
I was about to say they're sliding into Kirk's DMs. Like, hey, listen, 5-point plan. You don't have to answer, but this is how I save your already successful show.
That's right. That's right. He's gonna. Yeah, the kids will be really anti-subscription service. It'll be quite a show. I'm excited to see the Mincel Intel, the new class.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think I'm all in.
Oh, I am too. I'll watch every episode with if and one more thing before how about Carano? Had Carano given them more words, John would still be here.
He will. I think he gave the right amount, though.
If
guess you're Carano in that situation, like make him earn the word.
I'm not gonna lie. Let Phil speak. That was a big reason we had John on. A big reason for this because Phil is our #Dream Guest Phil. I want to have him on more than ever. He smells like muffins.
I wonder what kind of muffin.
The best kind. Phil is he's a remarkable talent. Maybe it's better the show isn't on anymore, so we could have him on. I think he's more available.
I mean,
now.
He's got more time to not speak on this show. I mean, he is going to last 4 shows if we put him on 100.
We wouldn't put him on a limit. No, someone like Phil, you don't.
Well, you can't. You have to let Phil speak.
You got that talent ride, and you don't get in the way. So we'll be back next week with Batman Begins. I guess a plea for the next couple days here. We want to have on Led Zeppelin Guy. Led Zeppelin Guy is our second dream guest. If anyone has a way to get in touch with Led Zeppelin Guy, please, you can DM me, DM Ted. Please give us that information. We would love to have on Led Zeppelin Guy on the show.
And not to give too much of the next movie away, but could you imagine Led Zeppelin Guy taking a hit with the scarecrows blowing around in people's faces? Because that's what he was tripping on up in Saco.
So it was.
That's why he was the best guest.
I noticed in this show we have on a lot of people that may or may not have taken some illegal substances. It seems like, but that's what we bring here to the director's chair.
Hey, we don't discriminate.
We do not.
I mean, clearly.
Right. Yes. You mentioned snow tires before we go. Like, do some wheelchairs have snow tires? Or you just you know what I mean? Does that even exist?
No, not really. It's just like every year, people will ask me like the same jokes come this time of year, where they're like, "Does that thing have snow tires?" I'm like, "No, it doesn't." This time of year it sucks.
That sounds like awful. That's an awful conversation to have with somebody.
Yeah, but you have to be like, you know.
No, you don't.
No, you do.
Be like, your wife's ugly or something. Say something really mean back, and they'll go away.
Well, usually it's like somebody old, so I'll just be like, "Yeah, you'll pass on soon."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wish death upon them. Okay, so that's it. So we'll be back next week with Batman Begins. Thanks, Ted. Thank you to John from Scranton. And as Abraham Lincoln, once was said about Abraham Lincoln, men sell intel, now lives with the ages.